The first time Lydia Rockwell got electrocuted by my power box, she screamed so loud a cow 2 pastures over went into labor. I know I shouldn't have laughed, but after what she did, stealing electricity from my farm to power her luxury hot tub, I figured poetic justice should come with a little sizzle. It all started about 3 weeks before the scream heard, round the pasture. I live on a working ranch just outside a sleepy town where the line between country living and suburban sprawl is far too thin for comfort. My nearest neighbor, unfortunately, was Lydia Rockwell, a woman who looked like she'd stepped out of a luxury lifestyle magazine and into a self-appointed leadership role on the HOA board without bothering to blink. She wasn't born here. She just bought the biggest house on the block and crowned herself the queen of lawn regulations. Lydia had a hot tub. Not just any hot tub. This was a monstrous, glowing, Bluetooth-enabled backyard shrine to her vanity that she called her sanctuary. I called it a Vegas light show in a bucket. You could see the steam rising from 2 fields away, and the bass from her spa playlist thumped through the night like it was trying to wake the dead. For weeks, she'd been bragging about how toasty it stayed without raising her electric bill. That should have been the first red flag. Hindsight always looks like common sense after the explosion. The first clue that something was off came when I opened my latest electric bill and nearly dropped it into the goat trough. Triple the usual amount. Now, I run a full-scale operation, greenhouses, irrigation pumps, even a few refrigerated coops, but I know my usage down to the watt. Something was off. I blamed the utility company, then the weather, then a rogue cousin plugging in an RV. But then things got weirder. My electric fence started shorting out. Twice, my prize steer escaped and ended up licking the bakery window downtown. Then my automatic chicken feeders started clucking at 3 a.m. and launching feed like confetti. One night, I lost power completely, only to see Lydia's house lit up like a caffeinated Christmas display. That was when I got suspicious. I installed a trail camera aimed at the side of my barn, just to cover all bases. What I caught on that footage made my jaw drop. There she was, Lydia, queen of the cul-de-sac, sneaking across the property line in a silk bathrobe and flip-flops, dragging a 100-foot orange extension cord like she was invading Normandy. She crept behind my hydrangeas, crouched next to my external power box, and plugged in with the ease of someone who'd done it many times before. She glanced around, patted her hair, then tiptoed back across the lawn like nothing happened. I replayed the footage 5 times. Each time it got funnier, and each time it got more infuriating. She had been siphoning electricity from my ranch, my power, which I pay for to run a working farm, just to keep her overpriced backyard bubble bath humming through the night. Judging by the smug smirk on her face, she thought she'd gotten away with it. Not for long. I didn't go to the HOA. She basically was the HOA. And besides, I didn't want an apology. I wanted a reaction. So I dusted off an old box of electrical gear, poured myself a strong cup of coffee, and got to work. My plan? Let her plug in one more time, but give her a welcome she wouldn't forget. Living in the country teaches you to fix, build, and rig just about anything. I rerouted the outlet she'd been using so it fed directly into my old electric fence controller. Not enough to fry her, just a motivational jolt, like a handshake from an angry porcupine. I tested it with a metal rake and watched sparks dance. Then I waited. 3 nights passed. Nothing. Either she caught wind of the setup, or she was off at some wine and cheese retreat for HOA tyrants. But on the 4th night, at exactly 11:07 p.m., the camera blinked on. There she was again. Robe, cord, and all. This time she was humming. She reached the box, bent down, and plugged in. The scream tore through the night like a banshee on fire. She flailed backward, stumbled into my wheelbarrow, and knocked over a stack of hay bales. Somewhere, a barn owl screeched in alarm. Then silence. Lydia scrambled to her feet, hair sticking straight up like she'd styled it with a balloon. She shouted something at the box, probably a threat to sue me into the next century, then hobbled off, one flip-flop missing and her dignity trailing behind her like toilet paper on a shoe. I didn't sleep that night, not because I felt guilty, but because I couldn't stop laughing. The next morning, I found a strongly worded letter from the HOA taped to my mailbox. Your external power outlets pose a safety hazard to neighborhood foot traffic. Please rectify immediately. Foot traffic? That's one way to describe a trespassing power thief. 2 days later, a power surge hit the street. Several houses lost electricity, including mine. The electric company came out and found a suspicious junction buried near the fence line. Lydia had tried to install her own underground line using tools that I soon discovered were missing from my barn. That was it. I'd played nice. I gave her a jolt and a chance to back off. She wanted to escalate? Fine. I wasn't just going to shock her. I was going to ruin her little empire. I started on phase 2. I replaced the melted outlet cord with a fresh one, mounted a new plastic cover, and repainted the box to match its original appearance. It looked innocent. What she didn't know was that behind the outlet was now a dummy circuit, a clever detour that fed directly into an upgraded electric fence box with a voltage booster. Still safe, but enough to make her think the gods themselves were smiting her. I added a secondary camera, hidden inside the box, camouflaged with duct tape and pointed at the outlet. Days passed. Lydia threw another of her soak parties, complete with spa music, clinking glasses, and that laugh of hers cutting through the night like a weed whacker on concrete. But no midnight sneaking. Then, on Thursday, I received a delivery from the HOA. Inside was an envelope with a gold seal that probably cost more than common sense. One item read, "All homeowners are encouraged to share resources in the spirit of neighborhood unity, including electrical access." She was trying to legalize power theft. That evening, I did the unthinkable. I called her. She picked up on the third ring, her voice sugar-coated and smug. "Oh, if it isn't my favorite farmer." I apologized for the freak surge and assured her the outlet was totally safe now. That night, at 10:42 p.m., she made her move. She strutted across my yard like she owned it. No sneaking this time. She bent down, plugged in, and screamed like a siren. She flew back, hit the fence, and landed in my marigolds. This time she was live streaming. "Look at this. I was electrocuted. I'm going live." Thousands were already watching. I posted my footage. The comments turned fast. "Wait, isn't that theft? Lady, that's not your box." By morning, it was viral. Local pages roasted her. The HOA called an emergency meeting. She was voted off the board unanimously. The electric company launched an investigation. She faced fines. The sheriff issued a formal warning. And then came the cherry on top. A county assessor showed up. Turns out her entire hot tub patio extended 15 feet onto my land. She had 30 days to remove it. She tried to protest. I pointed to the easement line. She stormed off. That weekend, she held a desperate garage sale. Designer handbags, patio furniture, even that Bluetooth speaker. By Sunday, the hot tub was gone, carted off like a fallen dictator. Peace returned. The HOA relaxed. People smiled again. And me? I installed a new power box with a sign, "Not for public use." Beneath it, a metal plate, "Do not touch unless you want a free perm." People ask if I regret it. I don't. Because no one ever forgets the day Lydia Rockwell got turned into a human glow stick. And the best part? I never had to raise my voice. Just the voltage.